Welcome to the Secrets of Confident Women podcast, where you'll learn all the best tips, tricks, and practical techniques for building the confidence levels you've always wanted. With inspiring interviews, real-life examples, and game-changing insights, this podcast is for women who know that mastering the skill of confidence is one of the most important things they'll ever do.
Hello and welcome to the Secrets of Confident Women podcast. I'm Anastasia, and together with my awesome business partner Jodie, we run Rise Women, a business dedicated to making confidence every woman's new normal. So we're so glad to be back with you today because we are having a conversation about a topic that we've all had to deal with at one stage or another, and I mean everyone. This topic does not discriminate and no one is safe from its impact. Today, Jodie and I will be discussing opinions, and in particular, how to identify other people's unhelpful or destructive opinions and what you can do about it to stop them from derailing your life. But before we get on to it, let's say hi to Jodie.
Hello, everyone. So glad to be back and so happy to be talking about this topic today because I, for one, have had to deal with this a lot lately over the past couple of months. So it's always helpful to have handy reminders on what to do when other people's opinions start to become, I guess, really overwhelming. Now, I mentioned a few times in our newsletters and things like that and on our social media, over the last couple of months, I've moved house and moved offices, and it was full on. So we were, not selling our house, and then we bought a house. So then we had two houses and had to sell another house. And you know what? It was all good things. It was so great. We bought a beautiful house, blah, 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 blah. Kids had to move school. But I was absolutely inundated with people's opinions about what we should do, what we shouldn't do, why we should do things, if we shouldn't move schools, what would be like unbelievable. So this is really topical for me at the moment because I do feel like when you make a big life change or you do something, I guess a little bit out of the box, that people have got opinions and you hear about them, whether you ask for those or not.
Yeah, exactly right. Whether you want them or not, they're coming your way.
That's right. It'll be good to talk this through today.
Yeah, absolutely. Because it can be a really touchy topic for some people, right? Especially if you're dealing with opinions of people really close to you.
Yeah.
Like a spouse or a parent or just anyone who's has a real and unavoidable impact on your life. People who are around all the time who almost feel like they're entitled to give their opinion, right?
That's right.
Okay, so let's start talking about what an opinion actually is. Now, we all know that everyone has opinions, about everything, like literally everything. There is nothing in life that you don't have an opinion on. And most of the time we can't avoid or control these opinions. We just know what we like and what we don't like and what we think, how we feel, and most significantly, what we think we or others should be doing in any particular situation. Now, the key thing about opinions, though, before we get into how to manage them, is to remember that everyone's opinion is strongly influenced by their personal perception of the world around them, by their own past experiences, and by their version of the truth at any given time. No opinion in the world is unbiased. I mean, if it was, then it wouldn't be an opinion, right? It would just be a fact. Now, we all know this on some level, but I think it's really important to remind yourself of this when you're faced with someone else's opinion, because the truth is they probably can't see it any other way. That's, them. It's their reality. And the truth is when someone gives you their opinion on something, they're probably not actually telling you what you should do, even if it sounds like that's what they're doing. What they're actually verbalizing is their view on what they would do if they were in your situation.
Yeah, which is just so true, which is why it makes absolutely no sense to be affected by other people's opinions, even though we are a lot.
Yeah.
Because they're only ever looking at your situation through their eyes, which is, just as you said, will always be influenced by their perspectives or their experiences and their beliefs and values.
Yeah.
I read this thing the other day actually that said we all have our opinion and we filter information into a paradigm that supports it. And you know what? This is exactly why I think opinions and other people's opinions can be so dangerous, because we tend to buy into the idea that opinions are fact, but the truth is you're really only filtering information that supports an already existing opinion, which is why that can be so dangerous, because you get more evidence, we talk about this in other techniques that we offer in the course, that, we collect evidence, we collect more and more evidence to support the belief that we have.
To prove ourselves right.
Yep. Forgetting that you're running it through a filtration system.
Yeah, pretty much.
And you know what? I see this all the time with so many women that I speak to. And the truth is sometimes it is really hard to remember this in the moment. When someone is blatantly telling you what they think you should do, regardless of whether they know all the details of your situation or not. And it can be really quite infuriating. And you know what? I've had to bite my tongue so many times in the past and in the past few months to stop myself from really just saying to people, really, you have no idea what you're talking about.
Yep.
Now, the great thing is we have this really simple but amazingly effective technique that we use all the time to help both ourselves and our clients manage other people's opinions. And I swear every time I do this technique in one of my, presentations, it is such a game changer. And people have come back to me, months later going, oh my God, that is the technique that I still use.
Yeah.
But before I go into that, I just want to clarify that this technique and, everything we're talking about today is really useful for those really unhelpful opinions. You know the ones, right? The ones that come from people who have no idea about the details of your situation, the ones that come from people who have never experienced anything remotely similar to what you're going through. And my favorite one is that the opinions that come from people who have zero experience, expertise, or knowledge on a topic, but base all their conviction on something they heard from someone else or something they saw or read or on social media. I mean, these people are just incredible, right? They are so not qualified to give you any advice worth listening to in your life, but they often say things very definitively, like they know, like it's the truth, and this is how, and the words they use are so strong. And you know what? There's also a big difference between asking for an opinion and just being given it.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. There is such a big difference between these types of people and the ones who we value and trust and whose opinions or advice we expressly ask for, right? Because we know they're qualified to give it and we trust that they've got our best interests at heart.
Yep, that's right. So the technique I mentioned earlier to manage these people's opinions is so unbelievably simple, but just so unbelievably effective as well. All you need to do when you're speaking with someone who's giving you their opinion, or even when you hear opinions, whether it be on social media or the internet or what have you, all you need to do is put 3 little words before or after everything they say. And those words are, in my opinion. That's it. That's all you need to do. So every time you hear something from someone that is possibly unhelpful or hurtful or not useful in any way, just say to yourself in their voice, in your head, in my opinion. If you're feeling especially brave that day, you can even say it out loud, because it's a great way to remind yourself and them that what they're saying is just an opinion. It's not the truth. It's not a fact. It's just an opinion, and it's just their opinion. But you know what? No one ever paraphrases their opinion by saying, well, what I think is. They always speak it as though it's the truth, using that really definitive language that you often hear.
It would make it easier if they did that, wouldn't it?
It make it easier?
It'd just make it so much easier to identify them.
That's right. Because it takes, as we're going to see with this technique, it really takes the power away.
Yeah.
Now, you'll actually be really amazed at how powerful these 3 little words can be. And let me give you an example. Say you've made a life decision that someone doesn't agree with, or you've moved house and changed the children's school, before you sold your other house.
Yep.
Now, if they say something like, oh, you're making a big mistake, or you'll regret this, then it projects a really strong and negative emotion onto you that can be really hard to shake off, and it sometimes is quite confronting, right? Yeah. But listen to what happens when you use these 3 little magic words. If you put that before and it says, in my opinion, you're making a big mistake, or in my opinion, you'll regret this, it really doesn't sound nearly as powerful, does it, right?
Yeah.
It just takes that whole definitive language of all that statement of it that it's fact off completely.
Yeah, it reminds
right?
you what's going on. It's that little trigger for your brain.
That's right.
Yep.
It's because these 3 words instantly, they sort of take the focus off you and the alleged mistake that you're making and directs it back to the person that the opinion has come from. In their opinion, you are making a mistake or you'll regret this. But that doesn't mean that you actually are. It's just their opinion. It just means that that's what they think based on their perspective and their experience and their beliefs and their values and what they're up to in their life and what their life experience, is, which is not the same as yours. It's completely different.
Yeah, that's so true. I cannot even begin to tell you how many times I've used this technique. And it just never fails me.
Yeah.
It's so easy. It's so effective. The more you use it, the more natural it becomes. And it's just automatic in your head. And it just has this magical way of de-escalating any emotions that I might be feeling about what someone is saying to me. In fact, I use it so often now, it has become like second nature to me. And I've just found over the years that ever since I've started using this technique, I very, very rarely am affected by anyone's opinions anymore.
Yeah.
They say stuff and their words just literally bounce off me. I hear their opinions and the whole time I'm like, yep, that's what you think. That's what you think in your opinion. It has no effect on me.
Yeah, and look, I do it too. We've been using this technique for years.
Yeah.
And it is so powerful and so simple. And look, I promise you that is usually how I operate. But you know what? When your guard is down, like what we've gone through in the last couple of months it was a very stressful situation. We were dealing with, there was lots of money changing hands with buying and selling houses and, we were losing sleep. And when your guard is down and you are feeling vulnerable, opinions, they did take effect more often. I wasn't as quick to put those words in or to be able to bounce the ideas off and have them not become the truth. And so over the last couple of months, I have found that people's opinions have affected me more, but I'm back, girlfriend.
Yes. Good to hear.
Because you need this constant reminder again that you're
do.
I was so surprised, I have to say. Like it was such a positive life change for us. It was just a wonderful thing. We bought our dream home, blah, blah, blah. And I was so surprised at how negative so many people were.
Yeah.
And just had to put in one of those snide comments, snide opinions, about something.
It starts to chip away, doesn't it? Because when you're during the day, when you're kind of immersed in it all and you're excited, it's fine. And then you go to bed at night and you're lying in bed and you are feeling vulnerable and you are feeling unsure about yourself and all those insecurities start creeping in. And it's that moment when those really silly opinions, because that's what they are, they start to creep in and you go, oh, maybe that person was right.
Yeah.
Maybe we are making a mistake.
It plants like an element
of
doubt or an element of, oh God, am I doing the wrong thing or what have you? It's those seeds of other people's doubt, other people's opinions that sort of can take hold if you're not really careful.
Yeah.
And when your guard is down or when you are stressed or when you're having lack of sleep or when the stakes are high, which they were for us in the last couple of months, there was a lot of change going on. And as we talked about lots of times through the podcast, our brains don't really particularly like change. It wants you to stay home and watch Netflix and really stay safe.
Yeah.
So when there's a lot of change, everything's heightened. So when other people plant these seeds of their opinions and doubt and negativity, and I'll tell you, look, I did have a lot of amazing people around me as well who were like, oh my God, this is the best thing, fantastic, well done, la, la, la. But it's funny how when your guard is down, those seeds of doubt by stupid people, the negative Nancys of the world, can really just creep under your skin and take hold a little bit. But
yeah, because remember, they're thinking about it through their filter, right?
Yes.
So they're looking at all the change in your life and the high stakes and, all the decisions that you've made that really, let's face it, anytime you make a decision like that in life, it's quite brave.
Yeah.
And you are taking risks. And they're then applying it to their own life and they're seeing it through their own lens and they're like, oh my God, I'd be terrified. I'd never do that. And this is why. And these are the mistakes. So really, they're not looking at your situation.
No.
They're just seeing it through their own filter.
Yes.
And that's why in their heads, their opinions make sense.
Yes.
But in your heads, they shouldn't.
That's right. Exactly.
And look, there's this other thing that I love to do as well when I'm faced with other people's opinions, and I do it regularly, and actually more so than ever during COVID, the lockdowns over the last few years. I have this thing in my head when someone is giving me an opinion, because everybody knows during COVID, everyone had an opinion on everything, right?
It was like the world of opinions.
Oh my God. And unqualified opinions.
Yeah.
And I have this thing now where I ask myself, and it's become again an instant second nature technique. Do they have proof or do they have an agenda? Right? It's quite simple. This question really, really helps me to identify what the purpose of that person's opinion towards me actually is. Are they trying to educate me about something because they actually know about it? You know, do they have proof or evidence that what they're saying is true? Or do they just have an agenda? Do they have a certain belief system or a disposition or a preference or their own, you know, preformed opinions that is tainting what they're saying because maybe they're not open to new ideas and maybe they're not willing to entertain opinions that aren't their own?
Yes.
Right? So we really need to use this simple question, do they have proof or do they have an agenda, to help us filter out these opinions. You know, it helps me distinguish fact from fiction, and it helps me to manage other people's opinions because it forces me to question their motives and their qualifications. And then it makes it easier for me to decide, do I listen to them or don't I?
Yeah.
Right? I know that everyone's opinion is almost automatic, but I need to determine, are they speaking to me from a place of experience or expertise or wisdom? You know, do they have all the facts, or are they at least trying to see the situation from an untainted or unbiased perspective? Or are these people actually telling you that you can't do something because their reality is that they can't do something?
Yes.
Right? So if they can't see how it can be done in their head, or if they've never even tried to do it.
Oh, which is so often, huh?
Yeah. How many times have we had business advice from people who have never run a business? How many times do you hear parenting advice from people who have never had children? How can these people possibly be qualified to give you any advice on whether you can do it if they've never even tried it?
Oh, I know. Absolutely. Right? And I mean, we're all in a limited position. So we can only see life through one lens, which is our own, and which is unique to us in every way. So if we keep these things in mind and then we create a habit of questioning other people's intentions when they verbalize their opinions, then it also helps us to decide what's important and valuable and what's unhelpful or destructive to us. And you know what? This technique, in addition to the in my opinion technique, are actually the two best ways that we teach women to stop taking on other people's opinions as the truth. And this is so important because once we accept someone else's opinion as the truth, we are then making it our own truth.
Yeah.
Which means we set restrictions on ourselves that would otherwise not necessarily be there. You know what? Restrictions that have come from someone else's limiting beliefs and that should not really have any impact on our lives.
It's crazy, isn't it? That we let other people's restrictions restrict us in our life.
That's right. We've all got enough limiting beliefs of our own. We don't really need other people's.
Very true.
Yeah. So you don't need to take on any more. You've got enough, right? Yeah. And usually we spend a lot of time finding those limiting beliefs and, you know, crushing them and working through them. You know, and the beauty of this is that mastering these techniques also helps you to start caring less what others think, which, you know, is my favorite topic of all time.
Yeah.
Because it can be so liberating and, you know, will give you the confidence to try new things and just get on with doing life exactly the way you want to do it. It's just when you can see other people's opinions and see other people's filtering system and see that it's just their view on life, you really do start caring less what other people think, because you often see that their opinions, their view of what you should be doing with your life is often unfounded. They've often made stuff up. It's just not the truth. And when you can really see that and use these techniques for yourself, you stop caring less what other people think, and it gives you so much freedom. And that's, you know, that's what we're here to do.
I think a different level of social and self-awareness too.
Yeah, absolutely.
When you can identify this in yourself and in other people, it just opens up the world to you differently.
Oh, For sure.
Yeah.
And there you have it. So that is our favorite techniques on how to manage other people's opinions. So you know what? Try them. Like, I promise you they work.
Yeah.
We use them all the time. I've done countless presentations and coaching sessions that we've worked through this. They help you every time, and they'll really stop you from letting other people's opinions and words dictate your choices and actions in life. It's powerful.
Absolutely. Well, I think that's it for today. Thank you for joining us, everyone. Remember, you can pop over to risewomen.com at any time for more free resources and lots of information, or to check out other ways that we can help you increase your confidence and live your best life without other people's opinions. Jodie, thanks for today's wonderful conversation.
Thank you. And it was great. And I hope all our listeners can really take something useful and valuable from today.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, everyone. And remember, with confidence, anything is possible. Bye for now.